Hi guys, welcome to LR Live, and in today's episode we are looking at fitting a brand new bumper to our Project Defender. Now we're going to have a look at a number of different bumpers to give you guys an idea of what they look like on the vehicle. So let's get into it. We've got 4 different bumpers that we're considering fitting to our Project Defender 110. And if you haven't seen any of the other videos on that project, then please do have a little click on the video above, and that will show you where the whole journey started. So what we're going to be doing today is getting 4 bumpers ready to offer up to the Land Rover. We're going to see which ones we like the best. Got a couple of favourites in this collection of my own that I'm sort of leaning towards fitting, but I wanted to be a bit more open-minded and actually fit a few different ones just to give myself, 100% confidence that we're fitting the right bumper. Now, just before the weekend, we actually tried to clean up the front of the chassis legs where the bumper mounts onto the vehicle. They were all jet washed, as you can see here. Once I jet washed everything, I then set about using this product here, which is called Dinatrol. So it acts as a rust converter and a primer. So obviously I wouldn't paint directly over it. I'd probably use, if I was going to use it on a surface that needed to be seen and painted, I'd probably use like a high build primer first, then paint it. We're going to offer the bumpers up to the vehicle first to give you an idea of how they look. Now, some of these are LED bumpers, and I want to show you obviously what they look like with the LEDs fitted. Out of the box, when you order them, they normally come and you've got to assemble them yourselves, and it is a bit of an art, to be fair, to do it well. So I thought I'd just show you actually quickly how to mount the LEDs into the bumpers to give you an idea of how hard or how easy it is. We'll crack on and get these LEDs fitted to these bumpers, and then I'm going to show you them on the vehicle. Okay, so this is our first bumper. It's from Britpart, and it utilises some sort of rectangular shaped LEDs. Now, I've fitted these before on vehicles. I do like the way they look, but I also remember these being a little bit tricky to fit and get them to look perfect, but we're going to have a go now. One thing to mention on this particular bumper from Britpart is it's not fully welded externally and internally. So internally, where they've actually bent the material to make the shape of the bumper, it is fully welded in there, so no moisture can get through. But it's not actually, you can just see there, it's not actually welded on the exterior. So if you're going to leave these exposed, it's possibly not the bumper for you, only because you've got that and you've got those holes in there. And it's designed basically to have the rubber, the TD5 rubber end caps on, which we've got and we'll be possibly reusing depending on what we go for. So if you're going to opt for this bumper, you're going to have to invest or reuse your existing TD5 rubber bumperette end pieces, and then that will look nice and factory. So this is one that I fitted earlier. I love saying that, but the reason I'm saying that is because I'm now going to show you how it all looks assembled correctly for when you do it. But if you want to watch the whole way of fitting this, it's coming up next, or you can skip to the next chapter. What we've got in the kit is you've got your 2 LEDs. We're just going to focus on one of those for now on this end. We have a mounting plate, various nuts and bolts. We've got some instructions, which is nice. We've got some adhesive pads here, which I think is used to just sit them slightly higher up, if I remember rightly, so they sit flush. There's no actual fitting instructions in here for the lights themselves. You only get a wiring diagram. So it is up to our ingenuity to get these fitted, and that's another reason why it's a great idea to do this video, I think, because I've struggled with these before, and it'd be great just to be able to give you a full fitting guide to get them fitted nice and correctly. Out of the box, you'll notice when you look, it actually says top here, and the bracket is sitting at the top, so that's obviously designed out of the box to be sort of hung from the top, and that's not right for us. So we have to spin, the first thing we need to do is spin this bracket and drop it down. Now it does have to be on its lowest setting initially, if I remember correctly, so we'll just then do these up. Let's reduce the torque on that. Right, so I'm going to peel that off there. I'll put it in place first. There we go. Now, thinking about it, it's probably not a good idea to take the cover off this side, because I want to be able to move this when it's in place, and if I stick it on there, I'm not going to be able to adjust the reach. So we're going to leave the pad on one side of this, so we're not going to actually use it to securely attach it, we're just going to do it basically so. We're going to use this Loctite chapstick just to put a little bit of thread lock on these, just to be doubly sure. So we've got top on the bulb here, and we've got our bracket in place. We're then going to slide that there and then get that fixed first. So you've got left and right adjustment on the actual bumper itself, and then you've got fore and aft adjustment on the bracket, and that's how you get it in the position you want. You'll see, or you should be able to see, that the middle of the lens here is just protruding from this aperture, and then either side is still. Can you see that? So to do this job, you can use the provided Allen key. I'm actually going to use my Teng Tools mini ratchet. Now this is a really cool tool. Now the code on it is 1400B. It's a really nice little product from Teng. It's like a mini ratchet driver. It's got an 8mm on the end, and then you can just put your sockets in there. And the reason that's handy is because you can get that into really difficult to get to places where you can't get the extension all the way out. And I'll show you how that works on this one. So I can just pop this in here. Using the open end, I'm going to just pop it in there and do this up. And same on this one. Okay, so we've got, that's all in place, everything's tightened up. Let's see what it looks like from the front. And yep, that is nice and central. So if you're going to skip through the whole assembly process of this lamp, here's what you need to remember. You've got this adhesive gasket between this bracket and the lamp. Only remove the 3M printed adhesive protector, and only stick the pad onto the actual LED bracket itself, because you want to be able to move this lower bracket, and you can't if you stick it down on both sides. You need to make sure that you rotate out of the box this bracket here at the back on the actual LED itself. You need to flip it, because that needs to be at the bottom with top written on the lens. So going into the actual bumper itself, you've got top on the lens, and the bracket should sit at the base with the open slots going towards the front of the lens. Keep everything a little bit loose so that you can mount it on, and then you're good to go. So this is the one that I did earlier, and what I don't like about what I've done is actually these nuts are protruding, look, and they're pretty ugly. So I'm going to fit the next one with the button heads at the bottom of the actual bumper. I think that'll look a lot better, and we'll do both sides the same, and I'll show you what I mean. Don't forget to use your thread lock. Some washers wouldn't be a bad idea, I don't think, on the bottom of this bumper. I think that might be a nice touch. So maybe get some stainless washers, because you're already removing some of the paint. That's going to be the first place that's going to rot, and then over a few years the corrosion is going to get into this metal here, and this is just going to go loose and wobbly. So if you could get a washer on there, that would definitely be something I'd recommend. It doesn't come in the set, but just fit a couple of stainless washers underneath these bolts. You've got plenty of thread, so there's no harm in doing that. But there we go, so we've got everything set up. They're looking good. That gives you a good idea of how they're actually set in the bumper itself. And if I spin it round, you'll see how they sit in the bumper. So it's not a bad looking bit of kit really. It's nice and subtle. It's quite a classic look, and I think with those bumperettes on the end, it looks really nice. That's basically it, but just be careful, as I said before. You can see we've got some scratches already on this bumper, and that's from me working on a wooden worktop. So there's obviously bits of swarf and grit in there, and you don't want that on your bumper, especially when you're fitting a brand new bumper. You want it to be perfect, so perhaps do it on a bit of carpet in your lounge. Okay guys, so I've just dug the other LED bumper out, and to my surprise it's already wired up. I say the lamp's already installed anyway, so you can see here, look, we have got LEDs installed on the end, so that's going to save me a lot of bother. But yeah, you'll be seeing this on the Defender in just a second. But while I've got it in my hand, I thought I'd just show you one little detail which could apply to quite a few of these bumpers. And it's getting them the right way around, because obviously you've got a top and a bottom on these. They're not specifically universally fitted. So on this one, you can just see, I'll show you here, this is the bracket. Now on this side, which is the top side, the bracket sits just underneath, but a lot closer to the top of the bumper, so it's almost flush. You can just see there. And if you look at the other one, it actually sits down slightly, you can, little gap underneath. Now that is the bottom of the bumper, and the reason it's there and like that is because that is where you actually mount your circlipped retaining plate on there, but as you offer it up. So that's the difference. So obviously that gives you an idea of what's top and what's bottom. Now I thought before we put these on the vehicle to see how they look, it was worth having just a quick close-up look at the finish on them. And you can see already there's a big difference. Now these two here are made by the same company and they've got like a really heavy-duty matte textured finish. It's not as deep black as the standard one here, which is the Britpart one with the rectangular LEDs. But I thought if I show them all together, you can really see the contrast, because I think when they're on the vehicle, you won't notice it as much, but there is definitely a difference. And I think the coating on these two and the military bumper is superior to this one, although this does look more factory. So this is the end of all of the bumpers, and top here you've got the military one, you've got the skeletal one here, then you've got the LED, then you've got the standard bumper. And what you'll notice, the skeletal, obviously it's designed to be lightweight, so the plate here is smaller and all the others are the same. But this has an additional strengthening support at the end, which is nice. And then it's got a major strengthening section in the center. I mean, that is a very, very solid bit, and it's double lined. So that box section is actually sat inside the original bumper there. So you've got a double skin, so it's a lot thicker. And that is for general recovery, which we'll show you how that works later. You've also got some mounting holes here. So on the military bumper, you do get these additional holes at the end. For mounting flags. I don't think that's something you probably want to do. But if you don't like the look of them, you could bung them up, cover them up. But they've also got some really nice mounting holes for lights. So moving further down the road, if you wanted to mount lights onto your bumper, you've kind of got everything in the right place. That's what I've always liked about these bumpers themselves. And then I want to just go on to the main sort of feature of the military bumper is this recovery eye section here. So this is the recovery pin you get in the kit. If you can buy the bumper on its own, but if you want to get the whole kit, you'd have to invest in this. And that would just, I can't show you on here, I don't think. That sits through on there. So you've got yourself a really useful recovering eye there. And it has got a spring clip as well that fits underneath. So this is the military bumper we've got on here. And as you see, you've got a lot of these points, mounting points, lots of holes, obviously, which could be utilised for civilian purposes as well. Then you've got that heavy-duty section in the middle with the recovery pin. And then moving along to the end, I wanted to just show you, obviously, these are fully welded up on the outside. They're not designed for the rubber bumperette that you get on the TD5, but that gives you an idea there of the look. And this is the standard bumper, which has got the sort of satin matte finish, which does look really nice compared with the Nakatanega grille. Again, fully welded around here, but you can have the option of running those TD5 bumperettes. And here we have the skeletal LED bumper, again in that satin finish to go with the Nakatanega grille. This is the LED bumper from Britpart. Got a slightly shinier, more original OEM finish to it, and we don't have the welded piece here, so you would need to really either deal with that for anti-corrosion or fit the rubber TD5 bumper ends. Well guys, I've got to be honest, this is a super difficult decision to make. I don't think I can make it on my own, so I think I'm going to need you guys to make it for me. I like all of the bumpers, I'll be honest with you, and that's why I picked them, because I know that they all look great on the vehicle. But for me and for you, I guess, it's nice to see them offered up sequentially, again, to see which one you think suits this vehicle and possibly your own vehicle. Now, there are two clear, outstanding bumpers for me that suit this particular vehicle. And that would be the one we've got on here, the skeletal LED. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I do, but I think it really adds a different touch to the vehicle. Now, I don't mind making this slightly non-genuine, because I think it's got some slightly non-genuine stuff on it, and we are bringing it up into the 21st century. You know, we're putting the LEDs on there. We've got better visibility when we're in traffic if we've got an LED, and I think out of the two LED versions, this is the one that I prefer, and I do like the skeletal look. However, from a practical standpoint, also from a visual standpoint, I really like the military bumper. I love what they offer, and that's the ability to sort of, you know, do quick recovery from the front of the vehicle. But I think possibly a couple of jate rings underneath the bumper might be a better solution. Certainly it'd be safer, and it's just as quick to handle. I mean, you know, you've got that center drop pin which you can pull out and pop in. But, you know, if you've got some soft shackles, which are easy these days, to just drop on a couple of jate rings at the front, that's going to give you some really good recovery possibilities. So those are my two favourites, the military bumper, the skeletal bumper, but let's not discount the other LED from Britpart, and also the standard traditional bumper, the nice heavy duty one with a nice matte finish, satin finish that goes with the grille. So I want you to let me know in the comments what we're going to go for, and we will abide by your decision, and that's what's going to go on the vehicle. So the next little video we're going to do is fitting a brand new windscreen. We're going to be using a genuine Land Rover rubber, and I'll tell you all about that in the next episode. We're going to be fitting a heated windscreen. So moving forwards, there's going to be a couple of wiring episodes on possibly doing LEDs, depending on which one you choose, and also wiring the heated windscreen and possibly some heated mirrors. We've also got a visit to Exmoor Trim coming along, and that's going to be shown soon. And I have got to go back to Norfolk to film the rest of Simon's soft top conversion. So there is loads coming out. So please do subscribe, come back, and I'll see you on the next one.